you are doing well.
Yep, little bit.
Okay. So over to you, Yogen.
Okay. Let me share my screen. But let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Hello everyone, good morning, namaste. As Bharat mentioned, my name is Yogendra Bharadwaj and I go by Yogi. Today I am going to talk about AI Insight in Power BI Desktop using Azure Cognitive Services. Intro about me, if you can see, like I'm a Azure App Solution Architect, Azure Data Engineer, Power BI Architect, and working on multiple opportunities in AI and ML area currently. I have total 17 years of experience, and my what I would like to do in a free time: social networking, listening old Bollywood music, and hiking. My habit is, I don't know it's habit or hobby, but learning new skills. So let's go to the topic today. Today we are going to see how to use sentiment analysis, key phrase extraction, language detection, and image tagging. I'm pretty sure you all are familiar with all these terminologies, but if in case you want me to put the focus on anyone, just ping in the chat window and I'll just elaborate on that part. And if we have the time, I will talk about the custom machine learning model as well, how you can implement those in Power BI. But can you see my Power BI desktop report?
Yes.
Perfect. So as you can see, I have a customer. They are working worldwide in multiple countries, and they have a customer for the different languages, and they have received the feedback. But now customer would like to understand, our customer would like to understand their customer feedback. Let's put it this way, because it's very hard to read each and every complaint or comments or remarks, whatever you say, like what they are trying to say. So we have to, like, they are looking for our help. How do I know? And all. So if you can see, I have like a tagging here, complaints, compliments, and mixed. Second thing, I'm having a word cloud here. So using the word cloud, you can see, okay, which based upon the color and the size, right? You know where the high weightage is there. Then you can pick those words and see, figure out what's going on. Maybe some say bad services, and bad services, the bigger one is here. Then you know your customer feedback is something like you have to see where the bad service is there and how you can improve. Right hand side, you can see review by language. You can see what all languages in reviews you're receiving. So this way, if you're not focusing on that area or you are focusing on the area, how you can improve your services better. And the last one you can see sentiment analysis, sentiment scores. So this score is between 1 to 0. 0 is negative and 1 is positive. And if you are having a score in negative, like a below 0, it's negative. But all this beautiful picture, if you see, it's coming from this data actually. The problem statement is here. I have where all the feedbacks not are in Hindi or English or German or any single language. So the biggest part is, first of all, how to find the language, right? Like what all the languages are there, right? Because in Azure Cognitive Services, right? If you want Azure Cognitive Service to perform any operations, first you provide the text and then you provide the language ISO code. But we don't know what is language ISO code. So there is a service that called language detection. It can detect your language and provide you a ISO code. And not only the ISO code, if you can see, is provide the full abbreviation for the language as well. So ISO code is HI for Hindi, but full is Hindi. So if you see BG, EN English, IT Italian, and all. I will show you. I will be going slowly there, but this way first you have, because before you perform any operations, you have to have your what is your text ISO code, language ISO code. Then once you have the language ISO code, you can call sentiment service as well. In sentiment service, again, you have to pass your review text and your ISO code, language ISO code. Based upon that, pre-trained machine learning model read your text and provide the sentiment scores. And based upon the sentiment scores, you can decide, okay, how many negative feedback you have, how many positive feedback you have, or and maybe you can do the histogram analysis, right? Bucket analysis. So you can say how many I have, like a positive, like a true positive, real positive, and all. So let me go to in transform mode. And if you see, I have these functions here. Detect language, score sentiments, extract key phrases. But I have not written this. The moment I trigger the service, trigger itself creating these functions for me. And I'm sure we all have seen on the right hand side top corner these for a long time. Text analytics, vision, Azure machine learning. Let me click on text analytic here. This option is only going to be available for you if you are having a premium services. If you are having a just pro license, this is not going to work for you. You have to have premium services. As you can see, I have three models ready here: detect language, extract key phrase, and sentiment score. If I'm too fast or you have any questions, please feel free to post a question in the chat window, and as soon as I get it, I will stop and cover the topic. Detect language, if you see, it asks me to provide my comment or review column. My review column name is review. And the moment I hit, and let me make the copy for it. I will say duplicate, and I will remove all the work that I have already done here. So now if I go my text analytics here, because it's calling, like I'm talking to cloud services, that's the reason it's taking time to load information here. Same type of things you can do in data flow as well. So when you create data flow in cloud, similar kind of functionality you can do over there as well. Meanwhile, it's loading, right? So what happened, right? Once we complete our language detection part, we'll go for key phrase extraction. So instead of reading the entire paragraph for the customer complaint or compliments, those keywords can help us to easily understand or digest the feedback fast. So whoever the team is responsible for go through all the feedback, those keywords will help them to understand these feedbacks fast. Next one was the sentiment scores. So based upon the moment you pass your text, sentiment scores, machine learning model perform the sentiment analysis and give it the scores. So based upon that, 1 is positive and 0 is negative, and accordingly you can decide. We close this and open again. So one thing that missing in the Power BI desktop, we cannot translate these feedback in one common language. Because what our customer wants, if we are doing a keyword extraction, what happened, right? You will getting that keyword extraction from Hindi language. But to understand and take the single view of all the feedbacks, we need to translate all these into one common language. And that service is not available in Power BI desktop out as an out of the box offering. For that, what we have to do, we have to use Azure Cognitive Services translation service. And using that, we can translate all our text to the common language. So let me go there meanwhile. Taking too much time. So if you go here on your Azure portal, search for Azure Cognitive Services. And under Azure Cognitive Services, you can see you have language service, translator service, all other type of services you have here. And you can use all these in your Power BI application. Why am I? Let me go back again here in the transformation. And if I go here on my data, so I don't know why it's misbehaving. Let me just clean the cache. Okay, hopefully should work now. So now we know right here, like that's a very straightforward options I showed you. So under the language detection, you just provide a text and it create two columns for you. One, the language full name and the language ISO code. As you can see here, right? So it's once you call the detection service. Next one is when you call the sentiment analysis service, it's ask for your remarks or reviewed column. This is the one, and your ISO code, language ISO code for the particular remarks. Once you pass that, you get the score here. Only one thing you can see here, couple of data is blank actually here. The reason is out of the box offering service is not supporting these languages. So for that, first we have to translate all this text into a English language using Azure Cognitive Service. And once we translate, we again perform the language detection on that. And then we do the sentiment score analysis. And that's the reason you see on my dashboard as well, there is no score for 10 remarks or 10 feedback, there is no score. But once you convert this information in a meaningful, data, then you can start drawing the values from here. Not only that, once you have because what happened, right? Sometime business launches the services in multiple regional languages, but these kind of analysis help them to understand like really do we need to spend or running those services or we have to stop those services. Because you saw so many times Google is shutting down this service or Dropbox is shutting down this service because what happened? They launched these services, but after that, running services multiple years based upon the analysis, they find out, okay, we are not getting the sufficient business or sufficient traffic from this location or this particular service. Let's stop those services. So similarly, this kind of analysis not only help to understand the customers, also understand or help to analyze, okay, do we need to run let's example, Hindi language services there or not? If let's example, they have 1 million feedback and only 0.1 is coming in Hindi, right? Then might be it's not worth for them to managing a particular area like a Hindi language is there. Or vice versa. Let me close this. Close my Power BI completely. Recently, using key phrase analysis, not only it helps to understand the feedback as well. There was a problem statement where a repair company was having a job logs. So whatever their team is performing the jobs on their equipment repairing, they were typing all those feed logs, right? So they wanted to know how many parts are inflow or outflow. So we run that key phrase extraction service on that. And based upon that, we were able to figure out how many parts is heavily utilized, how many parts is, not coming in your list and all. So this kind of analysis helps customer to understand their operations much better. Let me see if any question is there. Okay. Okay, finally. Okay. So if you can see here, right? Now score. So in score, in language detection, when you do the language detection, you pass that only, it asks for only one parameter, your remarks or review column. But in sentiment analysis, it asks for your remarks or comments and the language code as well. So we already have the language code from the previous one. Once you run this, it creates a new column called sentiment. And this function gets created automatically for you. Similarly, for key phrase extraction, again, you pass that your review or comment section and the ISO language of your remarks. This way, you can help your customer easily understand the feedback and visualize the feedback from different angles and help them, their customer, to grow and support their concerns. If you want to do how to figure out it's a complaint or compliment or mixed, one thing you can do with a sentiment analysis, but if you really want to tag your data, you have to go for custom machine learning models. For custom machine learning models, really you don't need to create anything, because nowadays, if you ask me, in my opinion, machine learning is very easy as we were thinking 4 or 5 years back, because so many pre-trained model is available based upon our requirement. We just need to tweak those models and consume in our services. So infrastructure and everything is in place. It's, for at least I can say, being as a Power BI developer and analytics person, it's easy for me to consume those standard offering services and produce the value from the day one to our customer. Next one is, I will go for Vision API. But before that, right, is there any questions for me, or I can go to Vision API? Okay, looks like silence is no. So in Vision API as well, what happened, right? My customer is having a images for parts. Let's example, we are having a customer, we say insurance customer. An insurance customer having an application where customer can create the claim form and upload all the images. Once the image is uploaded, how our customer is going to understand what all the damage area in that. One job is they have team who go through each and every image and analyze those things. Or second thing, we can have some machine learning model that can help us. This tag image service just help you to find out the values from the image. This is the out of the box offering. It's not going to give you the example, the values that I was giving the example for the car damage. But again, using the custom machine learning, not the custom, Azure Cognitive Services, you can achieve that. In Azure Cognitive Services, I will show you, you can upload multiple images that your customer is providing. Okay, headlight damage, windshield broken, scratch on the glass, all these tagging you can do. And then finally, you can call those services here. So using API. But this tagging image will help you to understand the image data and produce the value, because if image is there, being as an analytic person, we cannot produce any value from the image until unless we extract the metadata from the image. To get metadata from the image, we can use tag imaging services. And this will help us either. Right now, I don't have a data ready, but yeah, in that case, we can just provide the image path here. As you can see, it's asking for column. So we can provide the image path here. Okay. And then simply generate the values. For this language, ISO code is optional because for image, there is no language. Okay, so it automatically detected. Last but not least, Azure machine learning model. So if these two offering text analytics and vision is not fulfilling your purpose, Azure cognitive services is also not fulfilling your purpose, and you really want to go for custom machine learning model, and your machine learning engineer has created new models and that you want to test, you can go for your machine learning, Azure machine learning here, and it will ask for your credentials and all. Once you provide the credential, there is a tightly integration. You can pick your models here and apply the parameters to get the output. So this end-to-end infrastructure is well designed or crafted in place. We don't need to work on it. Okay, how call the API, how to do this, how to do that. You just apply the credentials and everything is ready to work for you. Okay, so let me go to the Azure portal and talk about the Azure Cognitive Services. So if you go here, so you can see, right, we have speech service, language service, translator service, computer vision, custom vision. You see, these all are the offering that Microsoft provide out of the box, and we can use all these into our machine learning, into our Power BI model to analyze our data. If I just show how we can use it, let's example, if I want to use the text service. I think I already have one. Let me see if I do. Yep. So if you see, I already have one language service, which I can use for, sentiment analysis or translation or all. And I was having so for this, so if you see my translator service, these endpoints, this is the endpoint you have to use. And once you go how to use this, there is a complete article that I will share with you, okay, that you can use. And using that, you can text analytic and you can how to call the APIs and create a function. And if you can see here, this is your key and endpoints. And once you supply this key and endpoint and apply your data, you get the output from the Azure Cognitive Services as well. So it creates the function for you, and then you can invoke the function on your data. So this article, explain everything pretty much very well. And make sure you set up the incremental refresh. So it's not performing, analytics or running the services on your same data again and again if you are using this, production environment. To test this service is free on Azure portal. So you can create a test account and use this service. If in case you have any questions, and anyway, I'm planning to create a video for this, but if you have any questions, just reach out to me on LinkedIn. We can talk about it. Similarly, let me go here. There is one. So I'm missing, like a few things is changed. So if you see here, right, this was the example I was giving. If you see, it says upload. So now here you can, without having a machine learning knowledge, supervised, unsupervised learning, deep learning, all those concepts, still you can create your machine learning model here for vision. Only thing is here it will ask for your what do you say, Azure subscriptions. But if you can see here, you can tag an untagged image. And in the image, you can specify clearly by tagging it. Okay, these are the Pepsi can, this is the Coke can, is broken or damaged. And once you perform all this, then finally you can call these models into your Power BI desktop and deploy into your production environment. Yep, that's it from my side. If there any questions, I'm happy to answer. Again, if you want to reach out to me, just reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can just search my full name, Yugandhar Bharadwaj.
Thank you, Yogi. It was a wonderful session. I would request attendees if they have any questions, they can ask in the Teams chat or raise their hand so that we can unmute there. So there is one question from Basavaraj that custom vision is from MS.
Yes.
So yeah, how to use it and licensing. So can you please more elaborate on the licensing aspect of it, if it is?
So it's a completely tightly coupled to your Azure subscriptions. Okay, so there are different type of models are available. There are free model as well. Okay, for training purpose, that free model that you can use. But I would say you just try and use it, a trial version, because it's going to be you like a meaningful insights.
Right. So, I hope your question is answered.
I have one more question for you, Yogi. One is, as you mentioned that bunch of customs algorithms, is there any capability where we can create our own algorithm, maybe using a Python or some other language?
Yeah. So if you see, right, let me share my screen again back.
Yeah.
So what happened, right? In that case, you go and create a machine learning model using Azure machine learning. Okay. Once you create an Azure machine learning model, is working there for you. You can go and click here Azure machine learning. Okay. So now with the trained model, right? Your model is already trained. Results is produced.
Understood.
Okay. And
Understood.
now you can directly connect from here.
Okay, so what I'm trying to highlight that we need to train the model, which is the outside capability of this functionality, and then link that model to this Azure machine learning, and then it will start working as per the model.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and how about if someone wants to leverage this to not with the Power BI desktop, but with the Power BI .com, which is online thing?
Same integration. So on that data flow as well. So what happened, right? The beauty of this, once you publish, because it's making an API call. Okay, so what happened, right? Once you deploy, you just need to update your credentials in the online, and end-to-end API integration is already there.
Understood. Understood.
So
and in terms, yeah, go ahead.
very simple example. If I give the example for SharePoint, so how we call the SharePoint libraries, right? When we call the SharePoint libraries in desktop and publish, after publishing, we just need to provide our new credentials.
Okay. And do you have any thought process that in terms of subscription, it is a subscription based on a model, or it is based on a scenario that you are trying to just highlight? There were bunch of cold drinks cans were there, and it is based on number of calculation of those, because eventually it is going to calculate the number of packets inside that entire crate, right?
Yep. So
do you have any idea?
Yep. So two separate things, right? Number one, when you are training your model, it's a separate cost. Once your model trained, you are just paying for the call, pay per service. So how many times you're going to make a call, you're going to pay for it.
Okay, so it doesn't matter how many times you call that service, whether it, I mean, but it does matter that how many models that you want to train, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So as you can see, right, I'm just creating this new resource for pricing tier 0.
Okay. So the number of resources, which is the images, that comes with by default as a 50 with S0 subscription. Is that a case?
No. So not number of images, right? There is I'll say, I think very significant, like at least I will say more than 100K image you can train.
Understood. Okay.
Because what happened, 1950, you will not get the results.
Oh, 50 will not get read. Okay, now understood now because of that algorithm. Okay. And one more last question from my side, Yogi. How about if this information we bundle it together in our dev environment and we need to push it to a production environment? How that works with the package sort of concepts, which is also used by Power BI, or maybe how it is works in the context of Power BI desktop?
Okay, so if you remember, right, I don't know I covered here or not, but let me just go. So Power BI has a deployment pipeline concept, so that we can leverage. So you can have like a different workspaces, dev, test, and prod. In deployment pipeline, when you have deployment pipeline, I'm still sharing my screen, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see your screen. Yeah.
Okay. So if we see deployment pipeline.
Yeah.
So in deployment pipeline, we have option to define our workspace, which one is for development, which one for test, and which one for prod.
Oh, understood. So it works on a concept of workspace where you can segregate your activity and task as per the phases of the program, whether it's a dev, test, or production. Understood.
Exactly.
And,
And once
and then,
you,
but and then finally it combines into .pbx file, Yogi, or how is it? It works.
no, so it's the same file, but it's just making everything package for you. You select all your component and goes to test environment. And similarly, make your selection up and go to production environment.
Got it.
But
Got it.
behind the scene, it's everything is a JSON API. I will say in JSON, in the API is called in the form of JSON. So you just pass the credentials and everything moving in the backend for you automatically.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thanks for this information, Yogi. Anyone who wants to say something or wants to ask any question to Yogi? We have still 5 minutes left. Perv is going to join at 10:40 our time as per the schedule. If you want to leverage this 10 minutes, exactly 6 minutes or so, I think let us utilize this.
I would say whoever is interested in machine learning and all, because that's a hot cake in the market and everybody wants to eat. My suggestion would be start with this. It's a very easy that you can start using from here and you get the better visibility. Because nowadays, when to stock come to the machine learning, right? The custom machine learning models requirement is, I will say, it's not unique nowadays because so many machine learning models is readily available in the market, and using the available resources, you can tweak and you can create your requirements. So I think this will be a good start. Whoever wants to start working in the machine learning area. And especially if you have knowledge of data analytics in as you are Power BI developer and machine learning, it's a good cocktail for you.
I agree with you, Yogi. So meantime, since our attendees are trying to digest the content of the session, so since they have your contact information or LinkedIn information, so they may reach out to you if they have any questions.
Yep, definitely.